Now there's no doubt about it, the 79 series has a lot of potential as a really cool four-wheel drive, but to be quite frank, there's a few little issues that sort of let it down from factory. But when you mix the right mods onto a vehicle like this, they can become the ultimate four-wheel drive. In fact, they can perform just about better than anything else with the right modifications. We're here today to take you through the process of building the ultimate 79 series. In fact, it's the 79 series, in my opinion, that Toyota should have built from factory. And best of all, the 79 that we're building, you can actually win. That's right, you can win this monster of a 79, plus a boat and trailer to go along with it. We'll run you through what you can win later. To enter, follow the link in the description. But for now, let's get into the build. Now behind me, the guys are chopping and extending this 79 series chassis by 300 mils. Now, this seems like quite an excessive modification to do to a 79 series, but trust me, it's one of the best mods you can do. Now, from my experience, I had a 79 series, and one of the best mods I ever did was extending the chassis by 300. Now, the reason why this is such a cool mod to do is because when you think about what people use a 79 series for, they usually use the back of this to carry a lot of weight. They'll put a big tray, a canopy, water tanks, all of those touring mods that make these vehicles so unique and so great in the outdoors. And the problem with this is all of that weight will sit behind the rear axle, and all that weight sitting behind the rear axle causes the vehicle to handle really poorly, and you can't carry as much weight. So by extending the chassis by 300 mils, you can get a lot of that weight forward. The vehicle will handle so much better, plus it can carry heaps more weight. Now mate, this doesn't just look like a work of art, it's probably one of the neatest chassis extensions I've ever seen, mate. Now take us through the process of what you do here.
Well, thanks, Sean. Obviously, we cut the chassis and then roll that piece away. We then add in the 300 mil piece. That is the same shape as the existing chassis. So that gets all fully welded in and neatly done.
You can see that goes from here to here. That's a 300 piece that goes on the inside here.
Yeah, so that's correct. And then what happens after that is we end up putting this big comp plate, I call them. And what that does is it actually puts the stress load further along the chassis. So this comp plate is made out of 4mm 350 grade steel, and it's fully welded along this seam here, and then it's got multiple plug welds all the way along, and that just makes it super, super strong.
Super strong.
And see, what happens is here is you don't want to weld either from top to bottom.
I notice there's little gaps there on the side.
Yeah, so this is curved, and then you've just welded in between there, and what that does is anything welded like that obviously causes stress with the heat, and it pushes the stress through the other piece of chassis where it's not going to crack.
You see, there's a lot of engineering that goes behind these chassis extensions. I suppose that's the big difference here at DMW, is they're not able to make it look super neat, but make it one of the strongest on the market too. Now, another one of the issues that the 79 series has from factory is a different wheel track in the rear to the front. Now, it seems quite absurd that a vehicle would have a different wheel track at the back to the front. They're normally the same in most vehicles, but the 79 is not the case. Now you can fix it, but the problem you do find with a different wheel track, and I found this with my vehicles, I never got it fixed, is when you're driving, especially in soft sand or mud or any sort of ruts, the wheels at the back want to follow the front, so that means that the back keeps moving out and it actually becomes quite hard to drive. So obviously, with this 79, you guys have fixed the track issue. How have you done that?
There's lots of different ways to correct the track on a 79. There's the wheel spacers, but they're illegal. There's the different offset wheel, and but we've gone with the full diff housing.
Yeah, that's probably the best way of doing it. Now, the whole different housing, these are quite an expensive option normally, and that's why it probably puts a lot of people off going for a whole another diff housing, but of course it's the best way of doing it. Now, what's the story with these ones?
Well, DiffWiz have developed the diff housing, which is very affordable in the marketplace. And that's going to be the key to lots of people correcting it the correct way.
And obviously you can just tell it's a very strong diff housing by the looks of it, corrects the wheel track, and will make this vehicle drive just so much better.
Absolutely, you won't be crabbing down the road.
Another essential modification that you need to do to a 79 series, in my opinion, is a GVM upgrade. What you need to consider is this: a 79 series stock standard will have a GVM of 3.3 tonnes. Now, a cab chassis 79 with nothing done to it is about nearly 2,200. 2,175, I think, which leaves just over about a tonne to put all your accessories. You've got to put your tray, your canopy, your bar work, your winch, suspension, bigger tyres. By the time you've fitted out that canopy, that tonne doesn't go very far, and you soon find yourself over GVM. Ruben, you guys do a GVM upgrade. Tell us a little bit about that.
We offer a 4.5 tonne GVM upgrade, and what that does is it gives us an extra 1.2 tonne carrying capacity on top of the 3.3. So you'll be able to fill it with whatever you like.
Absolutely, and look, you need a fair few accessories in my opinion for a 79, and these are the perfect bases to make the ultimate tourer. So when you have a 4.5 ton essentially GVM, that means that you can kit it out with whatever you like. Roof racks, you can put a boat on the lid, you can do whatever you like, and probably not go over that 4.5 ton, still have some up your sleeve, which makes it a lot safer and a lot stronger. Now, how do you guys get to a 4.5 GVM upgrade? I imagine there's a lot of engineering behind the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely. So they come in both lengths, so standard length and the 300 chassis extension. So with the standard length, all we do is we run the bracing up over the back there. So as we were talking about earlier, if you hit the bumps, they're not going to break like that.
Yep.
Okay, we also do the diff correction and we do a brake upgrade. Of course, Sean, we also have to do suspension upgrades. So we put the 500 kilo constants in the rear and we upgrade the front suspension as well, and we also give it a 2-inch lift.
Now with the plating that we've seen before, that's one of the biggest things that people who overload their 79s will have an issue where they'll hit a washout and they actually bend right at the back here, and you'll see it, there'll be a massive gap between the chassis. So that plating just makes that chassis super strong.
So the plating inside and out, it'll never bend.
That's what you want to see. Now the diff, we've talked about the diff before, diff upgrade. What about brakes? What do you do with the brakes?
We do a hydraulic brake system upgrade. So it runs off the power steering pump, and so it does away with all the booster. And what that does is just puts hydraulic pressure on with the brake pedal, and it makes the 79 brakes. If you've driven a 79 with a standard booster on it,
I can speak from experience here. Yeah.
You need a very, very strong right leg.
Yeah.
This time now, you just touch the brakes and it pulls up on a dime.
Which is what it should do. So Ruben, this is obviously a brand new 79 series that you've done the GVM upgrade. Can somebody come in with an older second-hand one and get the GVM upgrade done?
Yeah, absolutely, Sean. Because we're a second stage manufacturer, we've done all the engineering and we're certified federal plate. So therefore, we can now offer on second-hand vehicles as well and give you that full 4.5 GVM, diff correction, chassis bracing, the whole lot on a second-hand vehicle.
Well, speaking of GVMs, let's get the big 79 on the weighbridge and see what it weighs. Righto, mate. Well, the results are in, and check this out. All kitted up, and you've got to keep in mind that it's got just about every accessory you need. It's got a bull bar, it's got a winch, it's got roof racks, it's got a rooftop tent, the canopy, the tray. All of that comes in to 3,200 kilos. Now, if this didn't have a GVM upgrade, you'd almost be at the limit. You don't even have a fridge inside there or any of your camping gear. But because this has got the GVM upgrade, well, it means you've got basically about 1.3 tons worth of extra carrying capacity. So, in my opinion, that's a heck of a lot of beers and camping equipment. Now that we've looked at all the components in detail that make the Ultimate 79, let's look at the whole package as one. Now this vehicle behind me has all of those features plus a lot more. Let's go check it out. Now this here is a full-size tray and canopy package. The tray is 1,950 and the canopy here is 1,700. Now you'll see the position of this rear diff is actually centralized in between. So when it's carrying the weight, it's going to carry that weight really well. You can put whatever you like inside that canopy and you know that it's not going to make, with the right suspension in this vehicle, it's not going to make that vehicle sit down in the rear end and get light steering. Not to mention that because the chassis is all braced as well, because the GVM upgrade, it's going to carry whatever weight you decide to put in it. Now, this vehicle, of course, is designed to carry a lot of weight. It's also designed to drive really well, and it'll drive better than a factory 79, even with all of these accessories on it. But it also doubles as one of the best tourers you'll ever see. Now, one of the reasons is because it can fit a full-size tray and canopy package. Underneath, you've got all the storage under here. So you've got your under tray storage. You've got every little square inch of this vehicle has been utilised to be the most practical tourer on the market. Now, check these things out. It's just so refreshing to see that every available square inch of space has been utilised. Now, check this out for a clever idea. Now, this is usually wasted space if you ask me, but not with this build. You see, it's got a little water tap, it's got a switch for the pump. It's also got a really clever location for the filler as well, because it's got a 70-litre water tank in here. Now, just little ideas like this that separates this to being the Ultimate Tourer. And it's very similar on the other side as well. The fuel filler is hidden in a nice, easy location underneath this tray. Again, space that doesn't really get utilised. And it just makes this a really clever setup. Now, at the back of this vehicle, one thing that stands out straight away, as someone who's owned a 79 series before with a tray and canopy, is the fact that you can get to your tow ball really easily. Now, on most builds, if you try and fit a full-length tray and canopy setup, your tow bar is going to be right down the back here, which means if you're trying to hook a big trailer up, well, you pretty much can't tow a big boat or a big caravan because it's going to get in the way of these rear tyres when you start turning tight corners, but not on this setup. Another really cool thing is this under tray storage. Now, I've got this on my 200 series and I reckon it's one of the neatest mods on that vehicle because it's so darn practical. Check this out. Full length drawer opens right up. Now inside of here, you've got so much storage. It continues right down here. So imagine trying to, find somewhere for all your tools, your spare parts, basically all that stuff you don't want to keep inside your canopy, well, you've got space right here. And when you close it up, it makes a great table. Now, one of the great things about having a full-size canopy on a 79 like this is you've got so much space you can play with. Now, this one here is going to get the Stage 3 Redarc electronics package. Now that's basically going to mean Red Vision, it's got a Manager 30, it's also got a big inverter as well, and it's got a really clever way of actually positioning all this, so you're again maximising all that space inside the canopy. But you can imagine with this much space, how much stuff you could actually put in here and actually kit this out, you know, up until what your imagination sort of allows. You can have a fridge, you can have drawers. BMW actually do a flash kitchen unit that actually slides out. So basically, you can spec this up to suit whatever sort of requirements you've got, so you can make this the ultimate tourer. This really is the dream 79 series. I mean, it is the 79 series that Toyota should have built. I genuinely mean that, because so many clever ideas in that, not just the way it drives, but also the practicality as a tourer. I mean, it ticks all your boxes. If you're serious about getting off, you know, the blacktop and really seeing this country, you need something that really is super practical like this. Now, could you imagine this towing a boat? Well, I can, and you can too, because you can actually win this package, this exact vehicle with a boat in tow. And if you ask me, it really is the ultimate package. I mean, the 79 series is completely built with a boat and trailer package to take you anywhere in the country. I mean, the only thing you'll need to do is probably take about 12 months off work to go and explore this great country of ours. So if you want to find out more information on this build, and more importantly, how to win it, make sure you jump on the website dmw.com.au.